Can I sit here? Their voice was small, hesitant, yet carried a quiet courage that made David look up instantly. A girl stood before him, no older than 12, with wild brown curls escaping from her hood, a worn backpack almost as big as she was, and a single prosthetic leg. She leaned lightly on her crutch, scanning the crowded park with a careful, almost cautious glance. Of course, David said gently, sliding his back to the side. There's plenty of room here. The girl froze for a moment, as if expecting a refusal or, worse, a glance of pity. Her eyes flicked up at him, dark and wary. Really? She asked softly, her voice almost trembling. Really, he replied with a warm smile. She lowered herself onto the bench slowly, carefully, her movements precise, almost mechanical. Her prosthetic clicked softly as she adjusted her position, and David noticed a subtle wince of discomfort quickly hidden behind a tight-lipped smile. I'm Emma, she said after a pause, looking down at her hands. David, he replied. I'm waiting for my daughter, Lily. She's at a robotics workshop nearby. Robots. Emma's eyes brightened slightly. That sounds cool. David chuckled. It is. Sometimes they are smarter than me. For a moment, they sat in silence. Around them, the park buzzed with activity, children ran in circles, parents called out instructions, ice cream vendors shouted their offers. Emma's gaze wandered, cautious and alert, as if measuring everyone and everything. She seemed small, delicate, and yet there was a strength in the way she held herself, in the precision of her movements. You don't mind me sitting here, she asked again, almost whispering. Not at all, he reassured her. It's a free world. And besides, he added with a gentle smile, I like company. Her lips twitched into a small, guarded smile, though it didn't quite reach her eyes. David could sense the walls she had built around herself, the careful control she maintained over her own emotions. You live around here, he asked casually, not wanting to pry too much. No, she admitted, hugging her backpack. I come to the park sometimes. Alone, he inquired, gently. She nodded. Mostly. David's chest tightened. He knew, from being a parent and from years of experience, that a child sitting alone in a public park wasn't always just passing the time. He could feel the loneliness radiating from her, subtle but heavy. Want some water, he offered, holding out his bottle. No, thanks, she said softly. I'm okay. He didn't press. Some battles required patience, not force. They sat in quiet for a few minutes, listening to the chaotic but comforting hum of the park. David noticed the way Emma's fingers fidgeted with the straps of her backpack, the subtle tension in her shoulders, the way her eyes flicked repeatedly toward adults passing by. She was assessing, calculating, ready to retreat if the situation felt unsafe. You know, David said after a while, breaking the silence, sometimes robots make mistakes. But humans are allowed to be messy. It's normal. Emma glanced at him, a flicker of curiosity in her dark eyes. Messy, she asked cautiously. Yes, he said, smiling. And it's okay. Everyone has challenges. Everyone has moments where they don't know what to do. And that's fine. Her gaze dropped to her lap. After a long pause, she spoke softly, almost too quietly to hear. Sometimes. I wish I could just disappear. David felt a sudden pang in his chest. He had heard that quiet desperation before, in his own daughter's moments of doubt, in children who had learned too early to hide their pain. You're here, he said softly, and you're not alone right now. That counts for something, doesn't it? Emma's shoulders trembled slightly. Tears gathered at the corners of her eyes, glinting in the sunlight. I don't want anyone to feel sorry for me, she murmured. You don't have to worry about that with me, David said firmly. I see you. Not your leg, not your challenges. Just you. Her lips parted slightly, as if she were testing the truth of his words. Slowly, she allowed herself to lean a little, resting against the back of the bench. It was a small gesture, but to David, it felt monumental. After a moment, she finally spoke again. Most people, they just stare. Or they whisper. Or they make me feel like I'm fragile. David nodded, understanding instantly. I know. But I don't see you as fragile. I see someone who's strong. Stronger than a lot of people I know. Her eyes glistened, and a small, shaky smile appeared. You really mean that? I do, he replied. Everyone has battles. Some are visible, like your leg. Some aren't. And what matters is how you face them. Emma's fingers fiddled with the zipper of her backpack, a nervous gesture, but this time less defensive. Sometimes I get tired of pretending I'm fine. You don't have to pretend with me, David said gently. You can just be yourself. Even if that means being tired or sad or scared. I won't think any less of you. For the first time, Emma's gaze met his fully. The guarded walls softened, if only slightly. It's just, people expect me to be brave all the time, she whispered. You can be brave and still cry, David said softly. Bravery isn't about never showing fear. It's about facing it, anyway. Her lips trembled as a tear escaped, running down her cheek. David didn't reach out immediately. Some children needed to cry in their own space. He simply stayed, silently present. After a few moments, she wiped her eyes, trying to compose herself. I don't usually talk to adults, she admitted. Well, David said with a smile, I'm not just any adult. I'm someone who's willing to listen. Her gaze fell on him again, more trust slowly building in the quiet space they shared. Can I come back tomorrow? She asked hesitantly. Of course, he said. I'll be here. She let out a small sigh of relief. Okay, but promise you won't leave. I won't leave, David promised. Not for as long as you need me to be here. Emma nodded, her small shoulders relaxing. For the first time that day, she looked like a child who had found a safe place, even if only for a little while. The world around them continued its noisy chaos, but in their corner of the park, a fragile, unspoken bond had begun to form. And in that quiet moment, David realized this little girl, this one-legged, brave, cautious girl, had already left a mark on him. Something deep, something unexpected. Something that would not fade with time. He didn't yet know the full story behind her eyes, the weight she carried, or the battles she fought every single day. But he knew one thing, he would be there. He would listen. And for today, that was enough.